What is going on, everybody? I want to welcome you to the live stream. Thank you for being here. I'm excited today because we're going to have Traveling Tall coming onto the stream. He's a fellow content creator who makes videos on motorcycle travel, product reviews, and installs, and everything in between. So I can't wait to bring him on. This stream is sponsored by Eagle Lights, and I want to give them a huge shout out. We need to bring in Traveling Tall, but we got to do it the right way. So let's roll the intro. Traveling Tall, what is going on, my man?
What's going on, Joe? How you doing today?
Not too bad. Hopefully you like the intro. I thought really hard about it.
Oh yeah, I like it.
Tall, first off, I want to thank you for coming in. It's an absolute pleasure. I've been watching you for a while here now, and just awesome to have you on.
Well, thank you for inviting me, Joe. I really appreciate it, and it's an honor to be invited. So again, thank you. And also, I want to say hello to everyone, especially your family. Shout out to Joe Go's family, and Riding the Wrench and Papa D, and a couple other people that I recognize in the chat section. Thank you for tuning in tonight.
Awesome. All right, so we're going to go ahead and roll into it. So first off, I know everybody probably knows who you are, but first question on the list, just tell us a little about yourself and your YouTube channel.
Well, my name is Tall. The YouTube channel is called Traveling Tall, and the channel is about motorcycles, test rides, tutorials, product reviews, installations, side-by-side comparisons, and a little bit of other things mixed in too. It's a family-friendly YouTube channel. Anyone can sit down, watch it with your family. I have a lot of viewers and subscribers that watch it with their small children, and that's how I want it. There's no cursing, no profanity, and you won't see anything other than a Harley going a little faster than it should from time to time. You won't see anything that should be embarrassing to watch in front of your children. So I pride myself on making it family-friendly. Yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's awesome. I like your channel because you're not on there bad-mouthing people, swearing every other word, because you hop on some of these channels, it's like, man, it's hard to even watch this. So people definitely appreciate that. So let's move on to question number 2. So what exactly got you into riding motorcycles, and how long have you been riding?
I've been riding motorcycles since I was 9 years old, and I've been riding almost 40 years now, so that a lot of people don't know my age, so I guess I just told my age. What got me into riding was my dad. I grew up in a motorcycle family. He's had Harleys. There's always been a Harley in the garage, and so I learned it from him, and, just kind of been in my blood ever since. I didn't start with Harleys. I started with a Suzuki, but then eventually I made it over Harley Davidson, and I've been riding ever since.
That's awesome. So it's a big family thing. Your whole family rides. That's awesome.
Yeah, my dad rides. My mom used to ride on the back. Go to Daytona years ago. My brother rides. My sister rides. My brother-in-law rides. My cousins. My uncles. Everybody rides in the family. Now, it used to be a little bit of this and that. Now everybody's riding hard. Pretty much glides beside my sister. She's the only one that got that heritage, but she'll be over there soon. Like,
hey, nothing wrong with that heritage. I like that heritage that she just got.
Oh yeah. It's a good looking bike. It's a good looking bike, but I gotta mess with her. It's really a great bike for her. But would I like to see my sister on a street glide? Of course.
Right.
Might as well complete the set, right?
Yeah. And you would you have to disown her if she ended up getting a road glide?
No, because I got cousins that got road glides. I got cousins in the family with road glides, but all their taste is in their mouth. They don't have good taste. And that was just for Q right there, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I'm sure Q's in the comments right now, like, oh, these guys. He's actually in Pensacola. I can't even say it. Pensacola, doing a training, and what did he trailer out there? The street glide.
Of course he did. You're gonna take the best glide when you're going, right? You're gonna take the best glide. But here's the thing, Q. Let me tell you this, because I love Pensacola. That's my area. If you don't go to Fort Pickens, that's the most beautiful beach that you will find in Pensacola. Beautiful out there. Just to let you know that. Yes, take that street glide over to Fort Pickens and enjoy it. It's a good area. And you probably have a better time on the street glide because the road glide. Well, I'm not going to start any trouble tonight. We'll speak about it.
Okay. So this leads me into my next question. So why Harley Davidson? Why are you so passionate about
All right. So here's the thing. You asked me a question, my mind goes way out there. So I'm going to try to do better on these interviews and answer the question that's asked. But I grew up in a Harley Davidson family to the point that when we saw somebody out on the road, and I'm talking about old school Harley, I don't know about this new school Harley stuff. You know what I mean? And I'll tell you what I mean by that in a minute. But when we saw somebody out on the road with Harley Davidson, my dad, even if he was in the truck with the family, he'd talk to that person. And it just seemed like there was a brotherhood that they had because both of them, whoever he was talking to, the stranger they just met, they loved Harley Davidson motorcycle. When I would see somebody, I remember as a little kid, I would tell them, yeah, my daddy got a bike like that. You know, we would talk about Harleys and we would go to different Harley Davidson dealership. We'd go to the dealership here in Knoxville, and it was just a different feeling. I like motorcycles. I like all bikes, but there's a different way that Harley riders gather together and fellowship than other motorcycle riders. And not to mention the sound and the looks of a Harley and the family history that I have with it. Since my great uncle, he started riding Harleys back in the 1940s. So this is nothing new with my family. And then my dad, he's been riding for 50 plus years. So it's kind of like a family heritage that's been passed down. And that's kind of, I wouldn't be able to tell my family history without talking about Harley Davidson, because it literally seemed like that was always in the foreshadow of our family. So hopefully that answered that question. Sorry to be so long-winded on that.
No. No problem. We got all night. So it's funny that you say that because so my dad, and he'll vouch for it. He was always against Harley. He said, "Man, those things are overpriced." He said, "You can get a Honda, Suzuki for half the price. It's the same thing." He stopped riding for a few years, and I decided that I wanted to start riding because he hasn't rode for years. So my first bike was like I think it was a Honda Rebel, and then I graduated to a Sportster, and I couldn't have a better bike than what he had. So he went out and he rode a Sportster. It was like a 2012 Sportster or something. And when he got home, he said, "Man, now I get exactly what the Harley Davidson thing's all about." He's like, "I never would have thought it would have felt like riding one of those."
Oh yeah. And that's to talk about that a little bit. You know, is there motorcycles that have more power from the factory? Yeah. Is there motorcycles that have more technology? Well, that's kind of questionable. I'll say yes, but there's really, when you think of Harley Davidson, everybody thinks it's old and antiquated. That's not so. Harley Davidson is the first company to bring an electric motorcycle. First big company, I'm talking about Honda, Yamaha, Suzuki, and all those, to bring an electric motorcycle. Harley Davidson has been making adventure bikes. They've been in the off-road portion years before this new Pan America stuff. A lot of people don't know that. Harley Davidson has, if I were to talk, and I'm not trying to start trouble, but if I were to talk to someone who rides a Goldwing, and yes, Goldwings, they make power, but if you're going to do upgrades on a Goldwing, if I were to ask them, what would it take to change the cam out in a Goldwing, or hey, at least point to where the cam is on a Goldwing, I'd say 90% of them could not point to where the cam. Harley Davidson is literally the Lego of motorcycles. You can point to the cam chest, you can see it right there. The push rods, the cylinders, the head, and they took a motorcycle and kept the nostalgic, iconic feel, and yet still give you a reliable motorcycle. And I know people are going to say, people have done a really good job talking bad about Harley, saying they're not reliable. But if you look and you see that Harley Davidson is ahead of a lot of the manufacturers in reliability, not beating up on BMW, but they're way in front of BMW motorcycle, you know. So there's a lot of good qualities about Harley. And Joe, I'm just rambling on. I forgot what you asked me.
No, I rambled on, and then you rambled on after that. So
yeah, you got to stop me sometimes, Joe.
You're good, man. It's all right. It's a good conversation. If it's a good conversation, I'm not going to stop it. So, but I do want to bring up the fact that Riding and Wrenching, he sent me a super chat. I appreciate it, brother. So here's your sound effect.
Super chat. That's gas money for your street light.
Right. Yeah. Oh my gosh. And then here we go. Robert's starting already. Robert Simmons, he just sent me a $50 super chat. Here's your sound effect.
Super chat. Who sent you that? That name doesn't sound familiar. Who said that to you?
I think I heard of him. Be the Boss of Your Motorcycle, Robert Simmons. And,
Oh,
and
that guy. Oh, I could be
so,
mean right now and say something. He lives
this
down
is
south,
really,
right? No, I'm not going to even say it. He knows what I can say, but I'm not going to say that. I'm just messing with him. So
really
go ahead. What's the
sarcastic.
question that Robert asked? Go ahead.
He said, when will we see Tall at a practice session? Seems quite odd that he hasn't participated in one, and he is a good friend of Robert Simmons. Signed, Anonymous.
Joe,
Robert.
me and Robert talked on the phone today. I know he's trying to put me out there in front of everybody, think it's going to change something, but we literally talked on the phone like an hour and a half ago today. He knows the answer to that.
Oh my God.
Robert knows as soon as he takes my fast maneuvering class, I'll take his slow maneuvering class. How about that?
Okay.
No, I was just kidding.
Hey,
I'm just kidding. Now I'm gonna get down there to Pooler, Georgia. We actually talked today, and I want to get down there and visit his course, and hopefully we'll be able to go on a ride too. I told him that we need to get out and go. If it ain't nothing but 100 miles, get out and go and take the glides for a ride. So
yeah,
that answers your question, Robert. Quick, put me on the spot.
That's hilarious. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to question 4. So just recently, Harley Davidson invited you out to Utah to be in their commercial, and that looked absolutely awesome. So what was that experience like for you?
Man, listen, that was awesome. It was awesome. That month there, I was in 2 weeks, I was in 13 states, going back and forth across the country. So it wasn't a very restful time there. Sorry, I got a phone call in the middle of this. It wasn't a very restful time. But when I say that my dad, being able to go out there with him and do that was a dream come true. And that's why it meant so much to me. We even before we got there, we was flying on the plane together. My dad, he's old school. He don't like flying on the plane. But we were flying on the plane together, going through the airport, trying to rush to get to where we was going. And when we got there, it was in, if I can tell the backstory a little bit, it was in Salt Lake City. So we went out to a place called Antelope Island, in Utah. So anyway, we flew into Salt Lake City, and the next morning we had to get up early in the morning for like the sunrise. They wanted to get some good shots. So when we went out there, the driver picked us up, and we're going out there. It's about an hour and a half ride. And I'm looking at the sun coming up over Utah, and it was just absolutely beautiful. And I'm sitting there, I'm riding in the van with my dad, and I'm excited about what's about to happen. He's excited about what's about to happen. He's excited about seeing the new models, you know what I mean? I'm excited about seeing the new model. But there was a point when I was out there looking at the buffalo, and literally the buffaloes were like 20 feet away. They, I don't know. They could have turned and chased us really easy, but there was a point when I was sitting out there and I was like, thank you, God, for this moment, this moment right here, I will never forget that moment, being able to do that with my dad, because it meant so much to him, not just because it was Harley Davidson, and he's been riding Harleys for a bunch of years, but me and him got to do something like this together, and it's going to be documented on film forever. That's something that I'll never forget. And Joe, if you want to hear another backstory, you want me to tell you?
Hey, I'm all ears, man. I'm sure everybody else wants to hear it too.
So my dad is 78 years old, 78. And in Knoxville, when we're riding around, he's very, very cautious riding the motorcycle. I'm wide open out there, right? So when I'm riding with him, I'm kind of like cooling and taking it easy a little bit. So, I'm like, where's he at? Slowing down, that type of thing. Well, when we got out there, it's like, all right, these two bikes. There's a road glide and a street glide. Don't say anything, ride in the ring. So anyway, I said, might as well. I said, I'll ride the road glide. So he rode the street glide. And we was out there, and they said, go down the road, do this. And there was a camera truck in front of us. And literally at one point, they told us to come on closer. There was a guy with a big tray back there, and he had a camera. We were that close, hopefully you can see that close from that tray. But we have these things that I hear, they said if they stopped, if they would stop, we would have been in the truck, right? But they had the things that I hear, and they were telling us all this stuff. So at one point, I'm sitting on top of the hill, and they're taking Daddy down there, and they're telling him to go. And he said, go through the curve. You want to lean it over. Now, he's a rider. He can ride. So he's like, all right. So he goes through the curve and lean it over, right? He's like, that was fun. So I go through, and that same curve had like some tar snakes, and it was kind of heating up a little bit. and that little tar, the front wheel kind of moved down on me a little bit like that. So when I came up there, I told him, I said, "Hey, Daddy, you need to be careful. Don't be going too fast now." He's like, "Oh, I ain't worried about that." I said, I had to tell him, I said, "Listen, I didn't bring you way out here for you to be getting yourself hurt. Don't be going that fast." I had to slow him down. To this day, he talks about how good that street glide is. He wants that street glide over his Ultra to this day. And, street glide's just a lighter bike than Ultra. The weight is different. So, yeah, I don't know what happened to having the weight on him and, for him to catch up to having to slow him down. But I don't know what it was, but he really enjoyed it. He had a good time. And that in itself, between that, riding the scooters through Salt Lake City, we rode the electric scooters, we rode the train, we took an Uber. I mean, we did all the new age stuff that people do. And it was unforgettable, man. Unforgettable.
Wow. That's probably the best explanation that you could have gave right there. And you got that whole video on your channel. So if you guys want to check that out, make sure you go to his channel and check it out. It was really cool.
Yeah. I still couldn't explain it in the video like I wanted to. I can't explain it. I'm grateful for it. I've been blessed to have some good opportunities with Harley Davidson. I don't know if you know this, Joe, but this is the second time that we've been in a video. The first time it featured the whole family. They came to Tennessee and they shot a video for the 2021, Street Glide Special. But this was, that was kind of like a story of riders. And this one, of course, is the Harley Davidson catalog, which is pretty cool. When we walk into a dealership and we see that poster of the Street Glide and Road Glide, I'm like, oh, that's me. That's pretty cool to look at that.
Right. Well, Robert Simmons says, "That's what's up, Tall. Memories with your dad. That's what's up for sure." And then Riding and Wrenching said, "Admit it. Love at first ride."
Oh, Riding and Wrenching.
He's gonna say something.
If it's such a good bike, then I mean, you had an opportunity to buy another Road Glide. You bought a Street Glide. I know what it is. See, Joe, let me say this. Riding and Wrenching came to Tennessee, and he rode that Road Glide to Tennessee. But when he got here and he saw all these batwing fairing and he saw the way that we was going through those mountains right there, he said, I got to have some of that. So he went back home and he bought a Street Glide. That's how I heard the story. That's how I heard it.
Right. Guy from Tennessee, what a legacy Tall's family has created.
What's up, Ty? Ty's from Chattanooga, I think.
Okay. So now we'll go ahead and move into our next question. So last year you went on a cross-country ride on a motorcycle that you've never ridden before. What was that like? That was a Indian Challenger or Pursuit?
Indian Pursuit. It was their new launch for the Indian Pursuit.
Okay.
So I'll try to make the story shorter this time, Joe.
It's all right.
So yeah, I ride glides. I'm a Harley rider. And Indian Motorcycle reached out to me the second time. The first time they reached out to me, it was on a Challenger, and this time they reached out to me to ride the Pursuit. I've never been on it before. The only thing that they did for me is changed out, well, two things. They changed out the seat. They made sure I had a tall seat, and they made sure I had highway bags on. So I fly out to Temecula, California. I ride the Indian for one day. They showed us the features of the bike. We rode to Julian, California, and that was a good ride. But the next day I was leaving, I had to get back to Knoxville. And when I say I had 2.5 days to do it, let me give you the backstory. I had to get back to Knoxville. It was Thursday. I had to get back to Knoxville because Sunday I was leaving for Baltimore, Maryland, back to Zippers to get the Blue Road King done. So that month also, I probably was on the road more than I was home. You guys don't see half of this stuff, right? But anyway, so got on that bike, and it's different than a Harley. It's totally different from a Harley. The throttle is different. The throttle response is, it's just different. I can't explain it. Like you hit the throttle of the Harley, and immediately you have instant throttle response. You hit the throttle on the Indian, like if you do that a couple of times, it will not respond as fast as the Harley. So when I had it all loaded down with slow maneuvering riding, you know what I mean, leaving out kind of U-turn and stuff like that, it was a little bit different feel than it was with the Harley. Not a bad feel, just a little bit different feel. The turn signals being on the same side, that was that was a little different than what I'm used to, you know what I mean? But other than that, the bike had plenty of room. It rode good, had great power. It had decent sound once you got it up into the higher RPM. But the trip itself was absolutely fantastic. It was, even though I had scary moments where I thought I was going to run out of gas, that didn't happen once. That actually happened 2 or 3 times. And I had a moment when I was going through Texas and I thought I was going to die. I was like riding in an air fryer. But that morning that I woke up, leaving the hotel, and the light is just coming up, and I'm looking at these Texas oil fields, and the wind is just feeling good, and the bike is humming, and I'm going about 90 miles per hour through Texas. Joe, I'm telling you, I just, again, I'll say this, the trend, I thank God for it. It was a beautiful moment. It's a moment, Joe, when you feel like you're alive. I can't explain it. When you're out there by yourself and it's just, I'm not having church on here, but it's just you and the Lord. I'm grateful for moments like that. You know what I mean? It's just,
Right.
I know I'm home, and people always like, don't you get homesick? I do. I miss my wife. I love my wife, but I get homesick for the road because I'm not as in the moment at home as I am on the road. And that's probably not, I don't know, I can't explain it. It's just like your senses are more awakened, and it's just, you're alive. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Yep.
yeah, you're right. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's riding a motorcycle. There's nothing like it. And that's like a once in a lifetime chance for Indian, the company. Now, I don't know if they flew you out there, but them flying you out there and then saying, hey, you can take this motorcycle, we'll adjust it a little bit for you, and then you just ride it all the way home. I mean,
that was awesome. And Joe, hey, you know what? I'm hoping to do that. I know a lot of people ask. I'm hoping to do that with Harley Davidson, either on a Pan America or another bike, one of those things that Riding and Wrenching has. You know what I'm talking about?
You don't want to.
So I'm hoping to do that with Pan America or another bike, and I want to go back I can start at the East Coast and head back to the West Coast. I'd like to get out to Seattle. So I don't feel like, a lot of people ask me, how was it on the Indian, and it was good. It was, and I want to try it on the Harley, which I did it on my Harley before, but I'd like to do it on like a fixed fairing Harley or maybe even a Pan America or something like that. So, and I'm not against doing it on a Honda Goldwing. I know that you're probably surprised by that, but if anybody has a touring bike and they want to see what it'll do, I'll hop on it and take it across country. I mean,
right.
Who wouldn't, right?
Yeah, we got some people in here. I don't know if you've ever heard of Boots and Jeans Rider. They're going to be my next guest next week. But the married couple, and they both ride Goldwings, and they go on bikecations. They go out on the road for 3 months at a time. And
wow, that's the life, right? Yeah. That's what I'm talking. Hey man, I'll say I don't want anybody to feel any type of way that I'm talking about their brand of motorcycle. I want to talk about some good stuff about other people's brand of motorcycle. There's Goldwing riders. They are not afraid to put it in the wind, man. Goldwing riders, they will get from state to state and go. I mean, and I'll ride with Goldwing riders. You know what I mean? And I found out from I guess this is probably a stereotype, or not a stereotype. This is what I think. If you need to know about road conditions or anything about riding a motorcycle anywhere, ask a BMW rider. Because a BMW rider, they know everything. They're the most prepared riders on the road. You know what I mean? That's what I say. So Goldwing riders and BMW riders and Harley riders are people that are not afraid to get out there and make the miles. So any of them, I'll ride with anybody, but I will really listen to somebody that gives you advice that rides state to state on motorcycle. What's up, Barbara CVO? I see where you just said that right there.
Yep, Barbara CVO 19 in the building.
Yeah.
So now this leads me to my next question. So this next question and the question after that kind of feed into each other. So the next question. So recently, I was on one of your live streams watching, and you started having a conversation of how you know if you're a ground pounder. So what exactly do you consider a ground pounder?
I think we established it 750 miles makes you a ground pounder. If you're doing 750 miles in a day, that's when ground pounding begins. But I'm glad you asked me that question so I can correct some things. That's ground pounding on the interstate. If you are on the highway, 750, not bad. If you're on a country road, you might be ground pounding with 300 miles because there's some country roads out there that you're doing that. Hey, and another person, that I'm sure you guys are familiar with, $1 Million Bogan. He's riding some crazy road. He's ground pounding with 100 miles of some of the stuff that this man's riding. So, but usually when people are talking about it, they're talking about a ground pounder doing their thing out on the highway. That's usually what they're talking about, going from state to state, So that's what I consider a ground pounder, someone that, about 750 miles. A 300-mile ride is a good ride. A 500-mile ride is a really good ride. So when you are out there for 750 miles, that's something that you really have to just be mentally tough and ready for. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I rode straight from one of Robert's practice sessions back home all in one shot because I wanted to get home, and that was around 750.
Yeah.
And man, I wasn't ready for that.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? You'll be riding it. You're like, why am I doing this? I should just stop. This is crazy. I'm not getting on this bike for the next 2-3 weeks. Then you pull in the garage, get off the bike. The next day, I'm like, that's pretty cool. I'm glad I did it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Oh, you always have moments of doubt, moments of, but it's always a good time being on a motorcycle. Even some of my worst days, hopping on the motorcycle makes it a better.
Right. Jenny Cudd says, hi, Tall, love watching you. Welcome, Jenny.
Yeah. Hey, Jenny, thank you for watching.
And then Boots and Jean Rider says, what if you do 749 miles?
If you do 749 miles, nah. Sorry, Boots and Jean. You just went for a good ride. You didn't ground pound. You didn't ground pound.
You got to get that extra mile in there.
Get that extra mile in. I'd go circle around the hotel parking lot a couple times. Yeah, that'll do.
So the ground pounder, that feeds into this question right here. So what tips do you have for somebody attempting their first iron butt ride, which I'm going to be doing when I head out to Daytona? So I'm going to be going about 1,020. I think the route's 1,027 miles.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. Daytona's going to be coming up pretty soon, Joe, and you're already starting off at the wrong time of year. It's a whole lot easier when the days are longer. You can leave like an hour before sunrise, right? Mm-hmm. Now, if you leave an hour before sunrise, it's still cold because it's time of year, But I'll just give tips. Like, just say it's like the summertime or whatever. I try to leave an hour before sunrise. And I have a full thing and I'll try to break it down. When you wake up in the morning, load your motorcycle and I just hop on the bike and I go. And then the first stop is at a gas station and I usually get gas, grab something quick for breakfast, not a sit-down breakfast. You don't have time to stop at IHOP and get the pancakes and stuff like that. Get a quick, light breakfast while I'm at the gas station and then hop back on the bike and then try to at least knock out 150 at every stop. When you get off the bike, don't just stand up. When you're filling up the bike, walk around. Get that circulation going. Make sure you're walking around. While you're riding the bike, don't just sit in one place on the seat. Stretch that leg out. Put your foot on the crash bar. Put one foot on the floorboard, one foot on the crash bar. Throw one leg over the crash bar. If you got lowers, throw one leg over the lower. If you can kind of push up off the seat a little bit when you're riding to get a little bit more blood in your backside, do that. You know what I mean? Every now and then to get the blood flowing. And it's not time for you. Oh, I shouldn't say this, but it's not time for you to be putting around. When you are out there ground pounding, you hit that hammer lane, fast lane, and you run. You know what I mean? Don't want to do anything crazy. Never weave in and out of cars. Never do anything like that. But you want to hit that fast lane and you just want to make sure that you are, let's just say this, moving faster than the flow of traffic. Not reckless driving, just faster than the flow of traffic. And make your gas stops and food stops and restroom stops at the same place. Don't go to the gas station, have to pull out, go to the restaurant, then have to pull out and go to the bathroom, 5 miles down the road. Try to do everything at one stop and get you some good music, because a lot of times music will take the discomfort off of your mind. And if you got a Bluetooth device, a good conversation with a friend, call them while you're riding. And that, sometimes, because you really want to get out there, you want to enjoy it. But things like that can distract you. If you get if you're listening to a book or something, or you're listening to some podcast or whatever, you're going down the road, you'll be down 150 miles before you know it, because you kind of got into what you were doing instead of focusing on watching every mile count. And don't do that, by the way. Don't be that guy that's watching 10 miles, 20 miles, or it just makes the time go by.
Right.
I mean, really stand still. That would be my, and make sure if you got a treadmill or something at the house or just walk, make sure you prep before you do this. Don't just get off the couch and say, I'm going to get on this bike and ride across country. Make sure that you've been walking, that you're hydrated, and that you are in physical shape to do it. Because believe it or not, it does take, you're just riding on a motorcycle, but you're riding for a long time. It does take a lot out of you. I was saying the other day that when I took my trip to California, man, I'm just telling everything. Might as well tell you. I took my trip to California. I lost 10 pounds in 20 days.
Wow.
And well, wait a minute. I didn't tell you what I was eating yet. Because I have a horrible eating habit. Every night, pretty much, the rotation, pizza from Papa John's, KFC, and some kind of hamburger. But every night before I go to bed, I would get a pack of Reese Cups and a bag of Funyuns and eat that every night. And I still lost 10 pounds in 20 days. Because motorcycle, it takes a lot out of you. I'm telling you.
Yeah, it definitely does. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start that workout regimen here pretty soon.
Yeah. Well, leave off the Reese Cups and the Funyuns. You don't want to eat like that.
Right. No, that's really good sound advice. I'll definitely take a lot of that into consideration. I've been doing so much research on this just to make, I mean, I've gone 750, so I know I can handle 1,000, but
yeah,
I know it's going to be tough.
Well, let me say this, Joe. And also, when you do break, okay, count for one real break for an hour. So remember I told you, don't waste your time sitting there at the hotel or wherever you start eating a breakfast or whatever. Eat breakfast somewhere down the road at a gas station while you're, 10 minutes, 15 minutes beside the bike or whatever. But get one real break. When you feel like you can't make it anymore, probably about dinner time, about 6 or something like that, get one real break where you go into a restaurant and you sit down for just a little bit. You know what I mean? Just to get yourself together and check your phone, kind of relax your mind mentally. And then see, a lot of people, when they get to that point, they'll just check into a hotel like it's over with. But usually, I mean, I don't want to be that guy to check into a hotel where there's daylight. And I'm like, I could have been riding. So pull over, get you about an hour break. If you don't want to go to a restaurant, go to the rest area and get you one of those picnic tables, put your jacket behind you, take you a nap, and get back after it. So that's my advice to you.
Yeah, that's good. It's good. All right, let's see if we got any comments down in here. Papa D Ride says daylight savings started at the end of bike week, so that's convenient. Then Workman Experience says, I'm trying to get motivated for Daytona, Texas to Florida. That's a long ride too.
What part of Texas? Because I did that. Me and my nephew, we left Dallas, Texas, and we went to Daytona. That is a long ride. That's a really long ride. But luckily, there's a lot of Buc-ee's along the way. So stop in the Buc-ee's, get you some gas, a brisket, and some beaver nuggets, and keep on rolling.
Right. Josh Allen asked, best Bluetooth brand, Sena or Cardo? I personally use Cardo, and I love it.
I have a Cardo and I have 2 Senas, and I'm a Sena guy all day long. And most of the people that ride with me have changed over to Sena. Shout out to Barber CVO. I never even had, he was at Run to the Hills too, and I never had the opportunity to use the mesh. I was using the mesh with him, and I think Tupac, we were on that mesh system, man, and I was like, this is really cool. I mean, the Sena was great, and I know those other ones had mesh, but the way the Sena is with the big old jog dial wheel and the way it connects, I really like the Sena better than my Cardo. So if I'm recommending it, I would say get to the Sena 50S. That's what I have.
Okay. Yeah. You really can't go wrong with either of them, because the Cardo also has that mesh too. So you're saying the Sena has the mesh as well?
Yeah. You can do up to 50 riding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so
that's awesome. Cool. Okay. So let's move on to our second to last question. So recently you made a big purchase. You ended up getting a toy hauler. Congrats on that. The thing looks awesome. What made you make that decision to buy that toy hauler?
Another long story, Joe.
Oh boy.
So, grew up camping, my dad and my mom, started camping in a van years ago. Went from a van to a tent, went from a tent to a pop-up camper, went from a pop-up camper to a travel trailer, and a travel trailer to a fifth wheel. So that's how I grew up. We went to, on family vacations in the summer, we would go camping. And just being out there with my cousins. It was always my cousins had they eventually got a camper. My best friend who lived up the street, his parents had a camper, and we would, one of my favorite trips, I'm going to try to stick this on the topic. One of my favorite trips is when all of us, and when I mean all of us, my cousins, my grandmother, and my best friend and his parents and his cousins left Knoxville and went to Key West on a trip, stopping, going to different places. And I remember how great that was. We had our bikes, we'd ride our bikes and stuff at the campground. And if you've ever been camping, man, there's nothing that smells better than bacon in the morning at a campground. Nothing smells better. So it's just that experience that I grew up with, and it's just something that I always liked. And so when I got old enough, I ended up buying a camper, and it has been a great experience, which I bought a toy hauler, and I don't use it as a toy hauler as much as I thought I would. But I'm still glad that I have the toy hauler. My wife really enjoys sitting on that back porch where it lets down, and it's just cool. And camping I would like to do more camping, and Lord willing, I'll be able to do more camping this year, because a lot of people like the camping videos. So I hope to add more camping videos on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. So with that toy hauler, you can have the best of both worlds. I mean, if you guys can park, bring the bikes out, go riding all day if you want, and then enjoy the rest of the night outside, because awesome.
I love it.
I grew up camping as well, and so I graduated from a utility trailer. Now I'm getting an enclosed trailer. I think the next step is going to be the toy hauler.
Well, Joe, I really thought about taking the enclosed trailer and I've seen people make mini campers out of it, where they would just get an enclosed trailer 7x14 and put a fold down bed on one side and solar panel on the top, cut a window in it, and put a split air conditioning and all that stuff in it. I actually, that's what I watch, stuff like that on YouTube. I watch adventure stuff all the time. So I think that would be pretty cool. As a matter of fact, you should, if you decide to do something like with a utility trailer like that, you ought to put that on your channel. I think a lot of people would watch that. I know I would watch that,
Yeah.
But camping and motorcycles, whole outdoors thing, it's just something that I grew up doing, and I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it kind of goes hand in hand too. So
yeah, it does.
Okay, so now I will bring up the last question, which I ask everybody, because everybody has a different answer. Don't worry, it's not bad. What's the worst experience you've ever had on a motorcycle?
Man, to be honest with you, it's going to be, even the bad experiences on a motorcycle, at the time, they're horrible. At the time, I look back on it, it's kind of like it wasn't that bad, or, I'm glad I made it through. So me and Leonard was on our way to Nebraska, and there was a really, really bad storm, to the point that it was a funnel cloud following us. Man. I mean, we were trying to get away from it. And we had those things in the rain. We were running 95 miles per hour in the rain, and it just seemed like we were on the direct path of that funnel cloud. And I was trying my best, because when you're out there, sometimes there's not a lot of, I should have told you the other story, but there's not a lot of covering. So we went and kept on going as fast as we could, but he caught up with us, so we had to stop under the bridge. And it was just, I thought we were really in the middle of a tornado at one point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now, you said the worst. And that really, to be honest with you, after I look back on it, that wasn't really the worst thing. It was just something that was just a bad moment. But I had a blast on the trip. Me and my dad, what I was going to tell you, the other thing, me and my dad and my uncle was going across country to California. We were out in Wyoming, and we got caught in a hailstorm, and there was no bridges. And we were miles away from stores or anything. So I had to ride in a hailstorm trying to find shelter. And that's still, I know that sounds bad, just makes a good story. It still ain't bad. Have I had close calls on motorcycles? Yeah, I had boards fly at me. I've had ladders fly at me. I had people try to cut me off. I've had people try to run you over. I've had all kind of things like that. So those things are bad. Things that I've done, going too fast around a curve when I used to ride sport bikes, and kind of running wide in the curve, going head on towards a car. That was a bad moment, but thank God I'm still here, and I still enjoy it. And there was bad moments, but I still enjoyed not going head on towards the car, but I still enjoy all those things, even though those were difficult times. I believe that riding a motorcycle, and I know that was the last question, but I believe riding a motorcycle can make you mentally tougher. What I mean by that, Joe, is this, that if you take the same principles of riding a motorcycle and apply it to life, and know that even though it gets hard, even though it gets difficult, the conditions might not be ideal, but if you want to make it anywhere, you can't stop. You got to keep going. And if you apply those same principles to life, then you're going to be successful, And I think motorcycle riders, long distance motorcycle riders get that. They know that they're going to go through some trials and tribulations, but stopping is not an option. You got to keep on pressing through. So if you apply that to life, I think you'll be better for it.
Yeah. I never even thought about it that way, man. Man, that was deep. That was real deep. But true. I mean, absolutely true. Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so we'll go ahead and open it up for Q&A for a little bit. L. Johnson asks, how did you get to partner with Harley? L. Johnson, I think there's going to be a lot of backstories in this.
Yeah. So they just reached out to me. They watched the YouTube channel, reached out to me, and basically we just created a dialogue, a relationship, and it's been a good partnership. I've been able to do a lot of really cool things with Harley Davidson, and can't say enough about them. The last thing that we did with the going out to Utah and filming that video with my dad, that really meant a lot to me. So Harley Davidson, the partnership with Harley, the way that they're trying to reach people, and the diversity that they have, and they allowed me to tell my story. I really appreciate what they're doing, and it's been a good partnership so far. So it's just relationship that just keeps on built.
Yeah, and they're doing a great job, no doubt. GoBot says, how tall is tall? I know you get that all the time.
I am 6'6".
Robert said, Joe, congrats on 3,000 subscribers. I hit that last night. So
all right, congratulations, Joe.
Thank you. Milestone. It's a tough journey. I'm sure you've been doing this long enough.
Yeah, it took a while to get to 3,000, and you hit it pretty quick, so you're on your way, man, for real.
Yeah, a lot of hard work, man. Not easy. The chat's winding down a little bit. I definitely want to thank you for coming on. I want to thank everybody that came and made this successful. It's all you got stories for days, and they're...
Oh, man, you froze up a little bit.
Oh, am I still frozen?
No, you're good now.
Okay. Were you able to hear that?
Yeah, no, not the last bit, but I heard you say thank you for coming on and something about stories. Okay. But don't worry, I'm not going to make you repeat it. Hopefully it was something good, right?
No, I was just saying, you have a bunch of stories, and it's just awesome to listen to. You got so many stories.
Well, yeah, I when me and Robert talked on the phone, we both talk a lot. We talk for a long time. So yeah, but I'm glad that you guys allowed me to ramble on, because I can ramble on. I do a whole lot of editing. If you knew how these videos were, I edit a whole lot. But Joe, it was a pleasure being on the channel. I want to thank you for allowing me to get on here. I had a good time tonight. And also, Joe, I want to thank you for coming down to Brunch Hills 2, man. And I wish that you could come down to Brunch Hills 3, but at least we get to see you down there at Daytona. And also want to thank everybody that is your subscriber and my subscribers that's on here too. Guys, if this is your first time seeing me, Traveling Tall, come over to the channel, check it out. I have motorcycle content, and if you like motorcycles, you like adventure, and Joe talked about a little bit of camping and stuff like that. There's a little bit of everything on there. It's 95% Harley Davidson, but every now and then you'll see some other brand motorcycles. I'm not going to do anything you can watch it in the family room TV. I'm not going to do anything you're going to have to turn it off when your kids come in. Matter of fact, I want you to watch it with your kids, because we're trying to grow the future of motorcycling. If you watch it with your kids and they see the joy of motorcycling, and it breaks down all the stereotypes that everybody said that Harley Davidson riders are about, then people's eyes are open, and they want to experience that life. They want to experience traveling on motorcycle. And that is what I try to do. I try to tell my story and share a little bit of myself with you guys. So anyway, there I go again, Joe, talking all day. Sorry about that.
It's all right, man. You got a lot to talk about. Nothing wrong.
Again, thank you. Thank you for having me here. And again, thank you to all the viewers and subscribers, and congratulations again on your 3,000. And I know that you're going to surpass that with the quality. I'll say this about you. with the quality of your live stream, this looks like CNN. I mean, this looks like a news channel. I mean, this is really good, man. So I appreciate it, and thank you again for allowing me to tell my story and share a little bit of myself with your viewers.
Hey, no problem, Tall. We'll see you out in Daytona in a few weeks.
All right, Joe. All right, everybody. Keep gliding and have a blessed day. And ride in Richard, trade that thing and get something else. All right, see you.
All right, we'll see you.